Your child can visit steamy jungles, grassy plains, and the dark depths of the oceans to meet and learn surprising facts about the magnificent animals that live there, all through the captivating, colorful pages of Zoo Books, the publication.
Hello, folks. UFL Jim here with the UFL Show, brought to you by UFL Jim.
I just want you guys to know that if we go in the under center from here on out, my is not this wet.
San Antonio to St. Louis, from your garage to mine. This is the UFL Show with UFL Jim. On today's show, we have an exciting interview with one Uncle Rico Magoo, aka ETOF21 Sports on Twitter and YouTube, where we talk about some takes and what he feels UFL has done pretty decently all throughout this season. Of course, I also have my power ratings. We have the segment of the day where we get to chime in with Chef Jim and see what he's cooking up for the UFL. And then I give you what I'm looking forward to in Week 10. I'd like to start us off by taking a look back at Week 9. It's the... We're coming down to the end of the season, and it's these moments that I like to just hold on to and grasp and reflect on as long as physically possible. So some takeaways I have from Week 9. Number one, the Renegades for the last few weeks now have been playing incredibly entertaining football and have been in very, very fun games. Against the Battlehawks, they get the win, and dang it, the defense did it. I'm going to put that more on the Battlehawks offense. Sans A.J. McCarron looking not that good, but it was still an incredibly fun game, and I'm excited to see what the Renegades do going into Week 10 because, man, they've just been so damn fun to watch for these last few weeks. Again, that leads me into my next point. The Battlehawks not anywhere close to one of the top teams without A.J. McCarron. He adds that extra oomph, that je ne sais quoi, that just makes the Battlehawks tick. The offense is definitely not anywhere close to the level of production that they have with A.J. McCarron. Next point. Are the Stallions mortal? Or are they just kind of not showing anything? I think it's a little bit of A, a little bit of B. This was easily one of Adrian Martinez's worst games, especially to end the game out. He looked rough at the end of the Stallions-Brahmas game there. It just wasn't doing it for him. The defense, again, as I've said throughout the season, is still electric, amazing, fantastic. That defense alone can carry them to a championship. But as they're sort of holding things close to the chest, I mean, we'll see in playoffs. We'll see come playoff time. But are the Stallions actually mortal? Next point. Somehow, I don't think it can get any worse or they can dig themselves any deeper or be any shittier. But the Memphis Showboats continue to be just a god-awful team. It's like they get worse every single week. The offense, the defense, even the special teams. This team, just burn it down, rebuild. I like what they have for some skill positions. I like the quarterback. I even like John DeFilippo as a coach. But the offensive line in particular is so bad. And this team just, if any team has given up, it's the Memphis fucking Showboats. Last point. I was worried. I raised it last week. But I was worried about the end of the season excitement and the drama being there with the playoffs being locked up in Week 8. I think as far as Week 7 even. But honestly, the excitement has been there every single game. These last few games, especially Week 9, have been extremely exciting, and I can only hope that we continue this momentum going into Week 10. That'll segue me into a nice Week 9 power rating sensual bath with you all. Let's take a look. At number 8, of course, it's the Memphis Showboats. This team stinks. They just continue to stink worse and worse and worse. It's like, imagine you have a pile of garbage, and instead of trying to clean it up and get rid of it and put something new in its place, you just pile more garbage on top of it. That's the Memphis Showboats. At number 7, it's the Houston Roughnecks. This team is getting better. They look better in Week 9, but I still Don't have a ton of faith in the coaching, and this team has been not really a disappointment. I expected them to be near bottom of the rankings come this time of year, but you know, you kind of hope for a little bit better. At number 6 is the Arlington Renegades. As I already said, extremely entertaining, but it does not mean good. This defense is still extremely flawed. Still probably still probably the worst defense in the league. The best defense at giving up points, more like it. At number 5 is the DC Midfenders. Again, mid. This team, just extremely mid. If you're a playoff team, you're going to beat them. If you're not, you're going to lose to them. Sorry, Brahmas, that one time still. But yeah, it's the DC Defenders. At number 4, it's the St. Louis Battlehawks as they currently look. With A.J. McCarron, this is probably a top 2 team. Without him, I would even venture to say this is probably generous. Obviously, the Renegades beat them, but this is probably a good spot for them without A.J. McCarron. At number 3, it's the Michigan Panthers. They've looked good to finish out the season, but again, they've been doing it against the bottom part of the competition. I still believe in the Panthers. I think they're good, but this is kind of where they belong. At number 2, San Antonio Brahmas. They do it. They're the team to take down the Stallions this year. Good on you, Brahmas, and that puts you in the 2 spot, especially now that Chase Garbers is back. This defense, number 1 defense in the league. I believe with Garbers, this team can compete for a championship legitimately. At number 1, it's still the Kings of Spring. It's still the Birmingham Stallions. Even with the loss on the record, they're still probably overall the best team. Again, we don't know what they're showing. Maybe I'm giving them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, but at this point, if any team deserve it, it's the Stallions. Okay, folks, that leads us to our segment of the day. Today it is Meal of the Day with Chef Jim. Chef Jim, what are you cooking up for the United Football League this week? Hello, UFL Jim. Today I will be creating a garbage plate, a northeastern delicacy based on just how garbage the Memphis Showboats have been. Let's get into it. So for the garbage plate, we're going to need a couple things here. First, we're going to need hamburger patties. Then we're going to need some hot sauce, some mustard, some cheese, some ketchup, raw onion, and some macaroni salad. I forgot the fries like an idiot, so here are the fries. Basically, you can just take these, throw them in the oven, you're good to go. That's the good stuff right there. Okay, on your cleanest cutting board, you want to get your yellow onion ready. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, I think we're at the moment where it's time to flip these burgers. Come on. Flip them. Oh, get them juicy squeeze out. You gotta get them juicy squeeze out. Oh, flip them. Oh, you get them juicy squeeze out. Yeah. Okay, so this next part's pretty simple. You want to grab a plate, throw your burger patties on there. Have a burger patties right here. Have a plate right here. Burger patty 1. Burger patty 2. This burger bit is just for me. Get your onion on there. Get your cheese on there. Cheese on there. Get your hot sauce ready to go. Put some more onions on there. Now ready to dine in, baby. And that, folks, is how you make a garbage plate to represent the city and team That is the Memphis Showboats. Let's get a good bite here. It's got a little bit of everything. Got a little macaroni salad, got some burger, got some fries, and got some onion on there. Here's to you, Memphis Showboats. It's a thumbs up for me. Well, that sure looked delicious, Jim. I can't wait to go home and try and make that myself and obviously fail miserably. A couple questions I have for you as an audience member before we get into the interview. What awards do you believe are going to be given out for the UFL? We're going to have MVP, we're going to have Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year. What other awards would you like to give out? What awards would I like to give out? Well, I'd like to give out Sexiest Player of the Year. I'd like to give out Best Interview of the Year. I'd love to give out Best Hit of the Year. I'd love to give out Craziest Player of the Year, like Psychopath. There's got to be at least someone out there. There's plenty of other ones out there. But I want to hear from you, audience members. What kind of awards would you like to see from the UFL? Another question I have, are the San Antonio Brahmas on a bit of a heater? Are they the hottest team in the league right now coming into the playoffs? Some would argue the Panthers, and I would maybe listen to those arguments, but I believe it might be the Brahmas. Are the San Antonio Brahmas extremely red hot right now going into the playoffs? And how about them crowds? I mean, I get it. Week 9, we had no real game mattering too much. I guess kind of the Brahma Stallions game mattered, and kind of the Battlehawks Renegades game mattered, but a lot of the home crowds were for teams that weren't really battling for much. So the crowd size to be expected. And I'm going to do a whole deep dive in what I think the UFL should do in the offseason once we get to that point. But for now, I mean, it's a little disappointing, but the TV numbers are good. So you take the good, you take the bad, and you kind of just live with it at that point. All right, eat your fucking apples, and then you can eat your cake. That's what my dad always said. On today's show, I'm joined by one Uncle Rico Magoo, friend of the garage and friend of you. So, Mr. Rico, we usually just start by asking a couple questions straight out. You answer them. We just do straight shooting here on the UFL show with UFL Jim. So I'll start you off. First question. What makes you, as an audience member who's not really attuned with spring football like someone like I am, what makes you want to watch a UFL game?
Well, obviously I like to bet. So obviously the financial part of it in it. And I am all about people chasing their dreams. So, you have these kids, young adults that are trying to get to their dream of making it to the NFL. So that's.
Good answer. Good answer. Next question. What do you think Anthony Beck's breath smells like?
I think it would smell like he just ate a big chicken parm sandwich.
Third question. If you could own a United Football League team, where would they be located and what would they be called?
I would, if I owned it, pretty simple. I would go up to Seattle and I'd relaunch the Sea Dragons, and I'd call Mr. DiNucci, see if he could be quarterback 1.
Mr. Rico, as a coach yourself, how would you motivate the Memphis Showboats to stop sucking literally all of the ass right now?
God, how would I motivate them? A lot of sprinting in practice, and a lot of stuff saying, a lot of video stuff circling how bad they are, and telling them, do you guys realize that this is one of your last chances to make it up a league, and this is what you're getting? I'm not asking you to be good. I'm just asking you to try and not make simple, basic mistakes. You're making a lot of simple, basic mistakes. A lot of running, ton of running. Any F-up would be a running. Those guys would be in the best shape of their lives with how much running I make them do.
Final question. If you could sit down with Wade Phillips and ask him one question, what question would that be?
Did you ever walk in on Jerry Jones with a hooker? That would be the question I would ask.
All right, Mr. Rico, if that is your real name, why don't you tell the audience where you can be found, what you have going on?
Make sure to check out myself and Jim. We're live every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, giving our best bets for the day. I have a live stream that comes out every single Tuesday night, talking NFL, shifting over to NFL, doing a lot of MLB stuff right now. Going to give a final NBA Finals preview next week. Me and Jim are live on Wednesday nights, talking UFL. Going to be shifting over to CFL. Really excited about that. And then me and my boy David have a new show coming out on Fridays. We're going to be talking MLB, some bets for Friday night. So, I'm all over the place. Check me out.
Enough of this! And now we're at the part where we like to look into the future, folks. And dang it, they gave us what we've all asked for. They gave us the toilet bowl. The Memphis Showboats will be taking on the Houston Roughnecks to play for the first pick in the UFL draft next year. We saw it in the USFL 2 years ago. We get to see it again. This is what these leagues are about. Making things up on the fly, having a good time with it. They're about vibes more than anything else, folks. Vibes. I'm excited for a few games in Week 10. We got the Battlehawks versus the Brahmas. We have the Stallions versus the Panthers. We get a playoff preview before the playoffs really begin. Now, maybe those games are bad. Maybe they're good. I don't know. The only thing I do know is that I am going to be watching. Of course, we also have the Showboats versus Roughnecks. Already talked about that one. And then we have DC versus Arlington. A team who is the definition of mid versus a team who has been on the rise since they got knocked out of the playoffs and have been extremely entertaining. I expect that to continue. I'm excited for Week 10. Week 9 gave me hope that the end of the season will be good. I'm very, very hype. Now, some things I would like to see in Week 10. I want to see weirdness from the Birmingham versus Michigan game. Get some backups in there. Get weird with it. DC versus Arlington, the other game that definitely doesn't matter for anything. Get weird with it. Just get crazy. Get some crazy play calls out there and just have fun. I would like to see even more sideline interviews. I want to see guys interviewing people who had a pick. I want to see the coaches when they do a dumb decision. I want not just the positive sideline interviews. Give me the real, grimy, gruesome stuff. You know what I'm saying. Other things, I don't want any broadcast screw-ups. Keep it clean. They're also playing for the playoffs here, so no broadcast screw-ups. Just keep everything nice and clean and chef's kiss. That's what I want to see. And I want fun crowd vibes. It doesn't need to be massive crowds, obviously. But I want to see fun vibes. I want to see other stadiums do something like Birmingham had the shirtless men pyramid. DC has the beer steak. And I want to see other environments, other spaces kind of incorporate their own fun, silly things into the UFL experience. That's what this league is about, fun. It's about weird. It's about just doing whatever the hell you want to do. And we will stay united because guess what? Next episode, we're previewing the goddamn UFL playoffs. A tear almost like sprung into my eye because this will be the last week of the regular season of the UFL. But with all of that, we at least get the playoffs. I'm UFL Jim. This has been the UFL Show with UFL Jim. I love you all. Stay united. Stay strong. UFL